but I don't think Trump killed it. I think Trump's base sort of had some fun. I think people who were cool to Trump probably felt colder. I don't think he had smooth, pat answers to questions that he probably could have seen coming a mile away. I just don't think he was prepared. And ironically, Biden's low energy was a good foil to that. What Biden is, his weakness, that he's lame and weak, that I think looked a little bit presidential in the face of the brawler. Believe me, I don't like saying these words, but that's my honest review.
And good night.
Thank you. Well, what a brutal 99 minutes that was. Just a mess. Disgraceful in so many ways. Chris Wallace completely out of control.
Yeah.
A dirty feeling all around. Joe Biden exceeded my low expectations for him. He didn't fall asleep. He didn't have a Biden moment. They must have given him just the right pharmaceutical cocktail to keep him peppy enough. Frankly, his low energy probably suited him. I didn't see him stumble too much. He got a few numbers wobbly, but he corrected himself. No major gaffes on his part. There are a few things that people could disagree with, obviously. When he said Antifa is not an organization, it's an idea. I raised my eyebrows there. But I have to say, Joe Biden exceeded expectations, exceeded how he's been doing on the campaign trail, didn't blow himself up. I think his insults to Trump, like, will you shut up, man? That was one that I jotted down.
Yeah.
I think those will be well received by his base and maybe even by some independents, certainly by the media. I have to say, although it doesn't get much Trumpier than me, I think Trump, obviously he came across as a brawler, but I felt like he didn't deliver in a way that would move people over to him. And listen, I'm the biggest Trump fan you'll ever meet, but I felt like today he was too defensive where he didn't have to be. I don't think he scored the bullseye on Hunter Biden and the Russia business and the China business. I don't know. I think that hardcore Trump supporters like me, literally nothing, could have moved us over to the Biden camp. But I think that if there is anyone undecided watching, Biden came across good enough. And his low energy style probably was a good foil to Trump's high energy brawling. I think either Chris Wallace or the format that Chris Wallace oversaw was an absolute disaster. The over-talking could have been seen a mile away. I thought that Chris Wallace was a little prickly and testy and felt it sometimes like the third debater on the stage taking on Trump. On the other hand, what would you do if there was a rule, don't interrupt, and one of the parties kept interrupting, which clearly Trump did more than Biden did? I don't know. On the whole, I just feel gross having watched it. Those are my thoughts just off the top of my head. I have a couple others, Sheila, but I'd love to get you in this conversation.
Yeah, I don't think the format did anybody any favors. I think the ephedrine and vitamin B12 cocktail that they juiced Biden up with before he took to the stage held out. The chip clip behind his head, holding his skin on his face nice and tight, stayed in place. He did better than I thought he would do. He did get in some places to the point where, like where you see dementia patients get mad because they're confused. He got a little bit there in some places, especially with his will you shut up, man, and in some other places. And it was, I didn't learn anything new. I got the standard, Democrat hyperbole about climate change and how fires and floods in Democrat places are somehow a Republican's fault. And, that when Democrats riot in Democrat cities because Democrats can't accept the turnout or the results of an election, that's somehow the Republicans' fault. I didn't learn anything new. And I think maybe it had to do with the format. And I think some of it had to do with the questions. I wasn't blown away by any of the questions at all.
Yeah, you know, I think that Joe Biden has been preparing meticulously for this debate because he is so weak. He's weak in health, he's weak in concentration and focus. I think Trump, first of all, he's busy being president all the time. He's having rallies, he's doing things, and he's so naturally a good communicator. I don't think he actually did a debate practice, I'm going to guess. So I don't think he had thought through answers to questions any more than he normally had. I mean, he probably said, listen, I answer questions for an hour or two a day. I don't need to sharpen up. I'm sharp every day. But I think that where he could have had a killer line or a killer fact, he just didn't. The one thing I'm not going to say I learned it, but that made me raise my eyebrow a little bit, is that Joe Biden for 6 months, and especially Kamala Harris, have been absolutely supportive or passive in the face of the Antifa riots that have burned down much of urban America. And Trump has been very strong on the law and order rhetoric. And today he challenged Biden to say he was against the riots and for law and order. And Joe Biden sort of did. In fact, not only did he sort of do it and sort of support the police, more than he has before, he took the line and he sort of ran with it. I'm for law and order and justice. And like he sort of took law and order, accepted that, and then built on it in a way that was clearly crafted and scripted. Joe Biden did better there than he has before. Again, I would put that down to debate prep. I don't think that Trump went in there, like you don't want to go in there with a bunch of prefab lines that look scripted. Biden had some of those, but they didn't look that bad.
He did.
Will you shut up, man? You just declare. I thought it was funny when Trump said, don't say you're smart. But again, that's not going to move folks from the middle over. That's just going to make the Trump the Trump base chuckle. I don't want to say that Trump lost the debate.
No.
But I think he lost, like he didn't do as well in the debate. I don't know if anything moved, any numbers moved. But I don't think Trump killed it. I think Trump's base sort of had some fun. I think people who were cool to Trump probably felt colder. I don't think he had smooth, pat answers to questions that he probably could have seen coming a mile away. I just don't think he was prepared. And ironically, Biden's low energy was a good foil to that. What Biden is, his weakness, that he's lame and weak, that I think looked a little bit presidential in the face of the brawler. Believe me, I don't like saying these words, but that's my honest review.
I didn't get that. I got that Biden's, telling his opponent to shut up was actually the opposite of presidential. I thought there were points at which Biden was getting angry and sort of losing his cool, and he couldn't, keep the comments to himself, the insulting personal comments to himself. I thought it was the opposite. I thought it was unpresidential. But I'm sure right now people in the media are furiously fact-checking Biden. And while he was calm, he was blatantly lying. For example, when he said that he doesn't support the Green New Deal, he definitely does. His own website says he supports the Green New Deal. So, I mean, it's easy to be smooth when you don't know the answers, or whatever answer you give is going to be a lie. Well, and that's what Biden did a lot of that tonight.
You know what? I know that Biden has gone all the way. He's gone against fracking. He's gone against oil and gas, talked about decarbonizing, phasing out carbon, and green. You bet he did. But that's when he's talking to the Democratic presidential primary crazies, the AOC wing of the party. Tonight he was talking to severely normal Americans who probably haven't tuned in for months. And so you're right, he lied. He lied on law and order too. Biden, and especially Kamala Harris, are absolutely Black Lives Matter Antifa supporters. But tonight, when he had millions of first-time watchers, normal people watching, he told a lie that people heard and said, oh, good. So he's not a crazy Green New Deal guy. Oh, good. He's not a crazy riot supporter guy. So yeah, it's a lie. But the people watching today were the suburban normals, not the wacko primary people. And by the way, I don't think he's going to be fact-checked. When was the last time anyone fact-checked a Democrat? I just don't think that exists. So yes, he lied. Yes, it was on purpose. And I'm afraid, and again, I don't say this with any satisfaction, I think it might have worked.
Well, then he's got to change his website because it's literally right on.
But what normal person goes to a politician's website? Like what normal person does that?
Yeah.
I think that there'll be clips on TV and clips on the internet and clips on Facebook and whatever of some of the highlights. I think the reason why calling Trump a clown and telling him to shut up worked enough is because Biden didn't throw out 100 of those. He threw out like 2 or 3. And I think that side of the aisle likes to see a little bit of punch Trump action. And I don't think it was excessive. I don't know. I know I'm sounding like I'm an advocate for Biden. I'm the opposite of that. I'm just saying Biden well exceeded my low expectations for him.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't blow himself up. He didn't have that Biden moment where he forgot where he was and maybe peed his pants or whatever. That didn't happen. I think that, there's something about his eyes. His pupils are the size of, quarters. I don't know what that's all about. Maybe he's always been that way. Maybe there's some medical reason for that. Maybe they're pumping him up with stuff. I remember when he had a bloodshot eye in one of the primary debates a year ago. No, I think that Biden did himself no harm. And whatever doctor cooked up that cocktail of wake up the weekend at Bernie's guy just for 99 minutes, kudos to him. Now Biden's going to collapse. He's going to sleep for 48 hours. He's going
to be on the ventilator.
You go on the ventilator, get the IV drip, whatever. But for 99 minutes, he kept it together.
Yeah. And I think for Biden, that is a win. Like that he didn't end up out of breath. He didn't have to sit down. He didn't collapse. He didn't have a Biden moment. Not really. He didn't forget where he was. He did make up some numbers there a little bit. Like I think he said at one point, of the 20,000 that died, how many lived? Like he said that at one point. I wrote that down because it was kind of funny. But it wasn't catastrophic. It wasn't bad. When he was getting a little testy with Trump, though, I thought, do we want, for me, I thought, imagine him across the table from North Korea when he's getting personal like that. I thought, that's not a good look.
You know what? I mean, how many jabs did Trump throw? Now that's part of the Trump personality. Sure. That's an excerpt from my daily TV show that I do live at 12 noon Eastern time. We talk about the news of the day, we play interesting viral videos, and most importantly, I take your questions that you chat to me through YouTube Super Chat. I think that's the funnest part of it. So tune in every weekday at 12 noon Eastern time, only here at rebelnews.com.